Hello friends, this is Perla with Missionaries of God's Love in Tustin, California. Remember that when we start our prayers and meditations, it is important for us to want and to wish to find ourselves with God, because God only comes to you when you truly love and look for Him. So today, let's choose to be a follower of the Lord. Let's prepare ourselves for our encounter with God by opening our hearts and preparing our body and mind. Let's start today by sitting upright and our shoulders relaxed. Let's take a deep breath in as we fill ourselves with God's presence. Invite God and the Holy Spirit into your heart and soul. In today's meditation, we are going to talk about how to live in God so you can live in His peace. Did you know that being united with God is being in peace despite the storm and torments you are experiencing? Let's meditate this. Sometimes in our prayer we tell God something really beautiful, in different words sometimes, but ultimately we say, "Come reign in my heart, fill me with your love and life." We especially say this to Jesus Christ, and this is a very special thing to say during consecration. Keep praying, but let's pay attention to those particular words. If we think about it, God is infinitely bigger than us. Don't you think we have it a little backwards? Instead of having Him come into our heart, shouldn't we be the ones going into His? My friends, keep praying with those beautiful words. However, I'd like you to think a little bit about how we should also be trying to enter in God. For example, think about a little fish in the ocean. The ocean cannot enter itself into the fish. On the contrary, it is the fish that lets itself be surrounded by the ocean. Just how we should be with God, letting Him surround us and our life. And this is beautiful. Invite God and see for yourself how beautiful it is to be surrounded by Him, inside and out. When you are and live within God, you have peace. On the outside there may be storms. In daily life there are storms, but inside your heart there is an inner peace. You can even fall asleep and rest in the middle of a storm, like Jesus did in the ark in the middle of a storm. My friends, when there is a storm in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, there are hurricane winds, high and ferocious waves that sink many enormous boats. But there's an intense rain, and in the middle of the ocean, under the sea, it's calm. You do not feel the storm. Under the sea there is peace. The fish are unbothered and they do not even feel anything. They are in holy peace. That's how the hearts of those that live bathed with God are. There are storms in life, yes, but you are not even in the storm. Your mind barely notices it. Inside your heart, it is flooded with God, and you are inside God's heart. Your small heart is inside God's big, immense heart. You know, that's why the book of the Imitation of Christ says, "The children of God who stand above present things to contemplate, those which are eternal, who look upon passing affairs with the left eye, and upon those of heaven with the right, whom temporal things do not so attract that they cling to them, but who rather put these things to such prosperous services as is ordained and instituted by God, the great workmaster, who leaves nothing unordered in His creation." So yes, of course, let's use these things of the world and live in the world, like we say, with our feet on the ground, but our heart in heaven. We need to be in both. The book of Imitation says that we should put one eye to heaven and the other on the ground. We have to be on the ground, yes, but our hearts with God. Like the saying says, keep one eye on the fish and one eye on the cat. Yes, we should see the things of the world, but if we are bathed in God, we need to see them differently because we should be seeing it through God's perspective. Don't see it through your own point of view, but how God sees things, including people. Look at how different people look when we see them through God's eyes, and how beautiful when God is filling us with His fortress and will. And we can feel Him at our side because we are full of Him, because we are praying every day and we don't miss church on Sunday, because we are receiving spiritual growth. We are full of Him. We feel His presence, fortress, His smile that guides us, His tenderness, His care, His support, His light, and His guidance. Look at this beautiful text from Jesus in Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 21. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. He's not saying do not use them, because He knows we must use material things, but He says not to store and attach yourself to those things. I will repeat the phrase. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. It's true. Isn't it true that many people, the majority of people, are more concerned about collecting more material items, more and more and more money, and to make their bank account keep on growing and growing and growing, all of their possessions? Isn't it true that many people have their hearts set on that? It doesn't matter whether someone has a lot or a little, they have their heart set on that. And that's the saddest part, my friends. Today, we have something to meditate for with God. Do I live inside God? Or do I live bathed and surrounded by my material items and riches? Can I live through the storms because I am in the calmness of God, bathed in Him and protected? Think about it and meditate. Now, take the time you need for prayer and tell Him, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.